on Mutex or Almond's team, who are absolutely well within the reaches of possibly sneaking into the top, depending if they can get a good drop here in the third lobby.
And here we take a look. Early on, Swagg does have a bounty at 2 threat, but this is the team sitting in second place. Now, they're not out of the woods. There's certainly no guarantee with 64 points that they will be able to get in through the qualification. But essentially, they're in a position where as long as they do anything slightly better than 0 kills and 0 multiplier, they should be within the top 4. And again, that's what it's all about. You're not winning money for these maps just yet. You're using these maps to get to the point where you can win some money. And this is one of those teams you can see sitting at 6th place, Team Almond. They want to make the push to get into this final. They were not able to do so yesterday, and you know that they are very hungry for it now. But as we swing over to Wars and Team zlaner, it's already got at least 1 kill here, and certainly searching for a few more, as they seem to be in the similar place to where Juki's team likes to land.
Absolutely. And while we're still kind of going through these early engagements, look just very quickly at how tight the kill dispersion is from the top all the way down to 7th. The fact that you've got Team Almond and zlaner at 34 and 32 kills, which is technically better than the team in 4th, it goes to show that every team is doing better in the early game, but it's getting through the placement points that have really been a struggle. So I'll be curious to see if there's going to be an adjustment in strategy here for Team Almond and Co. or Team Z, just to try to get themselves into a 1.5 or above multiplier in this final lobby to see if they can sneak into the top 4.
Yeah, it's really finding that mid map placement and pacing that is what makes or breaks these teams. So every team, you're gonna have a lot of leeway as you start a map to get a high volume of kills. You're gonna have low redeploy times. Usually you can get a little crazy with things as Tommy waits on his redeploy, and Almond does have a triple threat. But it's really, and that is a tough nade to take, but not the first nor the last time we will see someone get naded in this fashion. And well, the second frag takes him out. He will look for that redeploy, but it's really that mid-range game where you have to be mindful of the redeploy closing, and all the teams are alive as those circles are closing, where those missteps that can be extremely punishing begin to happen. And well, Tommy, speak of punishing, I thought that more of his team was alive, but as we cut away from Almond dying, everyone else did too. So Tommy forced to float for just a little bit before landing back and trying to pick up a scab. But unfortunately for him, disaster strikes the moment his toes touch the ground. He is sent back into a redeploy.
When you're in that position, when you're the only player left alive and you're still coming off of a redeploy, who knows? Where do you land? This is going to be a very staggering next 60 to 90 seconds or so, at least, for Tommy's team. Just trying to get on the ground, let alone find loot, let alone be able to take fights. It's like the errand list keeps getting longer and longer and longer to get competitive into this lobby. We have also lost our first squad. We're down from 9 to 8, at least to get things going at the start. We'll hopefully get an idea as far as who that was to see if there will be any standings implications depending on who finished in 9th.
Yeah, that could be big, right? I mean, again, we go back to Jesse Cook's team, right? That was something we saw after an incredible map 1 for them where they won and were sitting at about 40 points. They died with 0 kills and in 9th place in map 2. So who knows? And that was actually Booyah taking down 5x5 there, who is sitting in that 4th place position. We'll let you guys know on that elimination as soon as we can. But Booyah's team looking like they're doing solid so far. We can see Swish here up top as Biffle gets down. She does like to take these power positions, but unfortunately, you're gonna have to watch your back as multiple players push out and take her unaware. Unfortunately, unless you're able to vault over the wall early enough, you're gonna have a tough time, and what looks like Swagg is as well. So Booyah might be put in a similar position as Tommy here shortly and need to just wait it out till his team redeploys.
It kind of looked like for Swish and everybody else on the prison rooftop that they were actually trying to stay safe from contestants over towards the sniper tower. And then as they found cover and were trying to re-armor, a third team came up the ladders and staircases on the opposite side that kind of put on a bit of a natural pinch. And maybe we could confirm that just based on that UAV we just saw for a second. There was a lot of red dots on that left side of the prison block, whether that's up top or on the second floor, hard to say. But it did look like they were kind of getting into a pinch position. Back over, though, to Tommy's team. They have gotten themselves into fighting condition. I have to imagine that they landed right on top of a loadout, which is great news. But you have to have an unbelievable second and third circle here if you want to get competitive and have a chance, in my mind at least, to get into that top 4.
And Tommy just barely getting away with a sliver of health left and actually able to then convert that into 2 kills, which is something TBE is so good at doing, is trying to stay alive and just make the most out of every moment they're on the map. So good job on Tommy to be able to get that. Unfortunately for IQ, that is actually, I think, the team wipe. So IQ's team will be out, courtesy, I think, of Pinkify's team, perhaps. Certainly not particularly happy about that. And we do know the first team to fall was J Devices.
That's not great news, because they were kind of on the bubble there for a moment when it came down to being in a position to maybe jump up. It hasn't been a great necessarily group for them today, but at 33 points, there was an opportunity with a great game and a win to maybe get into the top 4, but that will now be out of the question, you would have to imagine, and likely that means the end of their Warzone Mania 3 run. But we're also losing our 8th place squad here, as we took a look at it just a moment ago. It went from 8 to 7 pretty darn rapidly. And so we'll see if maybe we can get an idea as far as who that squad was, as our second circle has 60 seconds before fully closing, and we have more fight up top here towards the top of prison block, which is going to be expected based on where the circle seems to be concentrated.
Well, Destroy's team at least doing reasonably well. Queen able to get back up onto her feet. Everyone alive. And, well, one of those eliminations is the first place team. That's Team Juki's out quite early on. And, yes, they should be fine. I mean, if you're sitting at 70 points here, I think they're maybe the only team you could say is safe to end up somewhere within that top 4. But they're going to have to hope so, because the rest of this map is out of their hands. Now we swing over to IQ, doing what he can, just working their way toward the inside of the map, just inside the curve of where that zone is going to be, and just trying to loot up here, get some cash, doing one of those scabs as we swing over to Noobs. Just waiting on a respawn from Tommy. I'm not surprised to see that respawn on Tommy, because he was in a pretty tricky open area finessing kills for a while.
Yeah, no, that's actually a very good call. And you kind of heard it there for a moment. They're trying to rotate to take full harbor control. You've got a player kind of setting the tone top left side of where Noobs is currently positioned. That's Almond. And then you've got Tommy and Kenz that are kind of sitting right in front. And this is a really peculiar move. It looks like they're trying to set themselves up for a final circle play, and they've put together a pretty good line of scrimmage for that. It's just, do you find any gunfights from this position? Because you are so far back into this circle that you may put yourself in a position to not actually get involved with any of the action.
And this is tough, right? You can tell Kenz has just come back. She does at least have some plates, but maybe not the guns and utility that she was hoping for. But you're right. They're setting up that play. They, I think, know that they need to get into those final multipliers. But you said it, Brest, right? You have to be so careful that in your late game thought process, you don't forgo all the kills you're going to need to make that multiplier worthwhile. But now we swing back over. Destroy sitting on 5 kills, waiting on that 40-second respawn. We'll get chunked down a decent amount as a few kills come in, but the fire sale, now that that is over, keep in mind, guys, as well, as this next circle starts to close, watch that redeploy clock. There's only a minute left on it, and it's going to get tricky for some of these teams once that closes.
I feel like you're reading my mind. That was all I was staring at, was that redeploy timer, because with that circle starting to move further and further to the south of the island towards harbor, you need to be in a position to at least hold ground, as the majority of the lobby is going to be rotating from around where prison's going to be. So now you have to really evaluate, if you're Tommy, Almond, Noobs, and Kenz, are you in the right positions to really reward yourself with easy kills as players are starting to get out of the gas? That's the real question here, because once again, you're in a safe spot to lock down maybe the final circle, but are you in a spot to potentially actually get kills? Because they need them badly if they want to sneak into the top 4 here.
Well, I was watching that kill feed. Noobs, Tommy, and co, they were able to rack up a decent amount here. So this play's certainly working for them so far. My concern is if that circle doesn't pull to exactly where they need it, say they're forced to move out of that location and go up those winding staircases, that could be tough for them. But now we swing back over. Mutex's team continuing to keep to these rooftops and find success with it. Now Mutex with 3 kills. We know the rest of the team with some amount of kills themselves, so not bad so far. But again, we'll just have to see where this circle pulls that big game bounty on Destroy himself. But here's 5x5. This is a team that took that map 2, had an excellent map 2 that rocketed them up into 4th place. And you know, if there's any team here that's hungry for this final, it's 5x5's team, being that bubble team that missed out by about 4 or 5 points in day 1.
Well, they're looking good at the moment. Here's the thing, Katie. This is the first lobby that we've we've had in this group where there are only 5 teams left before we even get through circle number 4. So every kill is going to be extremely important. And there's not going to be a lot more kills on the board in the first place either. So at this point, I think you have to just evaluate, group up, and just guarantee yourself a top 3. I think if you're looking at this from the perspective of 5x5 and co, because you're already holding on to that 4th place position, or I mean, they're in the 5th place position now as the score just updated. But I think if you can get the 1.75 times multiplier, you're good to get into finals today.
Yeah, I agree. Nice shots from Almond through the barrier there, able to get it down. But, well, it's the drop shot. It gets the best of you, and that was actually a 2-piece from that player getting taken out. A huge moment for them, and it was Sean J and zlaner's teams that were eliminated to put us into our top 5 teams. Queen, some nice movement there to help keep her alive, and we'll take a look at that. Almond going for one, gets the down, looking for that reach out, and will eventually pay the price. Pink, what a beautiful play there. Nice shots from either teams in that altercation. Unfortunately, though, Almond there at the very end getting taken out, but a great job regardless.
Yeah, and he's able to collect a couple of key kills. Just comes down to is the rest of the team alive in some regard. We'll find out. Look how many teams are still in full 4-man form, by the way. You've got 2 teams at least that have all 4 alive. In particular, 5x5 squad is in a key position, having this high ground rooftop, as the zone will actually put them into position to be safe from any incoming traffic from the bottom side of those kind of switchbacks that are just over to their right. But trying to contest this destroy squad, yeah, this is going to be good for them with the circle at their back.
Yeah, and that's, I think they were facing off with 5x5's team, who was getting some good shots, but that circle is not pulling for 5x5's team. And now we swing over to Swagg's team, the team in 2nd place. I'm not sure how many total kills they have, but hey, you're here and you have at least 3 players remaining. Another team has just been eliminated. We're now into our top 4 in this final map for qualification in Group A. A nice buyback. I like the play from Swagg. Will get traded out instantaneously, but you still retain those 3 players. The only question is Booyah even going to be able to get to the ground and land, or is he just instantly going to die?
I think you just float. That's all you do. You try to get to the top 3. It's the exact same play that Ahsoka had made last time around. So that's what that buyback condition is. It's not to necessarily get a full-man group of 4, but it's just float there, get us the multiplier. So we'll see if they can pull that off, as, honestly speaking, Switch is in a very safe position here in this little kind of alcove of a little tunnel. They're going to have to move, but you assume that at least one of the 2 players has stim shots that'll get them through this, hopefully safely. Still some engagements happening as they look from low to high, and Biffle is not going to be able to outrun the zone. Oh, maybe he will. Actually, no, sorry. He doesn't. He outruns the zone, but doesn't outrun the player waiting for him. And how about it? It's Booyah who's in a position here as he does get to the ground to still maybe lock in a top 3.
Yeah, we did see Swish off screen there in that push with Biffle, was able to down destroy. I don't know if she converted that into a kill, but maybe at least taking one out with them before they were gone. But now just like that, it's a 2v1. Destroy's team doing what they can, and again, it's Swagg's team taking 2nd place, but Team Mutex, they get it done, and look at those kills. They're in the 20s, and we've seen all the teams that are getting that ×2 multiplier with 20+ total kills. They are going to be in a great position. Congratulations to Team Mutex. Nice job closing that out. Top 4 teams are the qualifying teams, and it's none other than Teams Mutex, IQ, Swagg, and 5x5, and I love to see that in particular for 5x5's team, because as we said, they were the bubble team that was just a few points shy yesterday of being able to make it into the final. Now, you guys may note the big kicker here, 5th and 6th position seem to have the same score at 76. Well, in fact, a heartbreaker for Team Almond, who failed to qualify yesterday. They lost out by 0.25 points to Team Jukies.
That is, I mean, look at the kills. 54 kills. They had the 2nd most amount of eliminations in this group, just behind the team that finished in 1st. But as we continued to kind of critique, if not maybe constructively criticize this squad, is that...
Let's get into map 1 of the Group B qualifier, and none other than Joewo himself with some interesting tweets to warm up his gunny for this tournament today.
Yeah, that's for sure. Feel a little spicy. Joe always comes into with something that's just like,
he
what,
was
Joe,
drinking
what?
the flaming hot Mountain Dew, clearly.
Yeah, for real. That's too funny. But yeah, that tweet was comedy for real. And that's just the thing. It's like, out of all the people in the community, like, it's Joe to put that together. Just seems
Look, he's bringing the energy and the passion to this qualifier, and that's what I'm here for. Now, this is another team that's very interesting to me because there's a lot of talent on that team, but it really didn't shine through yesterday. They had a pretty mediocre day. So I think this is another opportunity for them, hopefully, to have gone over what was going wrong and try and fix that. But if you're Joewo and you're HMA, you're going to need to be a little bit careful as your teammates respawn. Breadman just about to get back in. We saw MSage land and get smoked by a player, but it looks like they are deciding, do we want to chase this player down who we know is underneath us, which I think is Blast Team, or do we just want to wait till those respawns and then go together, hold hands, and push as a group?
Yeah, that is, again, I keep mentioning it. We're just saying the same thing like 15 different ways, but that is where I would have to imagine some of the kind of pinpointing would be done after yesterday going into today. Like, did we make the right choice? Did we play with the right amount of speed? Did we play with too much speed? Like, I think that's kind of going to be the interesting convo point as we go through. And maybe some of that has to do with, like, who else is in the lobby? How quickly are teams being eliminated? Because one of the things we noted on yesterday was that in finals, the first couple of lobbies, no teams are being wiped. Everyone was surviving for such a long amount of time until they needed to start scoring points to be competitive. And then we got to, like, final circle with only 6 teams left. So the ability to actually collect kills was difficult at certain points compared to others throughout the group and finals yesterday. So that's another thing to kind of you have to keep in mind when we're evaluating how these teams are choosing to play.
And no surprise here, even with 30 people left alive, Aydan already sitting at 3 kills, an unstoppable force. His team yesterday dominating that and looking to have a dominant performance back-to-back. And that is poor flanked that Aydan is killing right now, desperately running for his life, not able to get inside that building before he was down. The assist comes in for him as well. That is going to be Knight with that full kill onto poor flanked.
Oh, and this is a pronged approach here for Aydan's squad. You could see the players that are looking to actually go backwards a little bit over towards the west. Not a part of this conversation that Aydan has taken this fight down towards the tents. Good elimination coming through for Smith, though. Able to at least hold on to some locations as they look to get the respawn of Knight and Aydan back into play. And you hear the calls also saying, okay, there's still more players that are in this building here at headquarters. The stim shot comes through. Able to perfectly swap away. I don't believe that that was a knock nor the kill for Smith. So we'll see if Danny could find the collection as we take a look over at FIFA Kill, who was individually really good yesterday.
Yo,
the team's coming over from what's
Ev, I might try and get up in the tower. What do you reckon?
You can if you want.
Yeah, I might go for it, bro. Fuck it.
Did we lose you, Katie? You there?
on my side from...
I'm getting away from here. They just popped a UE.
When we talk about something like FIFA, I think...
Ev, should I go for the tower or not?
I know that it can be hotly contested when it comes to things like ratings and rankings, but I consider him to be one of my top 2 players in this game.
Yeah,
FIFA
I like
again
that
and
call.
again.
Yeah.
Not only does he have the firepower and survivability, but I watched that man drop 40s like he's on 10 ping and not 140 ping in some of these tourneys.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, you bring up a really interesting point. Like, that even makes his performances that much more impressive when he's connecting into North American servers and stuff. But yeah, he's always been one of my favorite players to watch. And now you've got Stu kind of pinned down for a moment, Sniper Tower, and he's got no help immediately available to get him out of this position. But for the most part, looks like he's going to be okay, just staying prone, staying out of the gunfight. And, well, I say that, and it looks like the fight has kind of ensued as FIFA was trying to help out. And yeah, you can even hear the comments from like, there's still someone in that freaking tower, bro. Like, it's difficult to get him out of that position.
I like the nice censoring. I'm sure that was exactly, what they said. But leave it out of the listen-ins. But Stu, unfortunately, being left out of the lobby, not much opportunity to play there as he was just taken down repeatedly. And there we see Huskerrs facing the same fate. It feels like everyone we go to is in the middle of a losing end of a gunfight. Joewo's team, though, at least alive and well for the time being. And well, I say that. And MSage again on the other end of a barrel, and that's going to be Blast, who I think might have taken down both of them. Although you still have 2 teammates left in and around this prison area. They are going to stay somewhat near each other as they wait for those respawns. Always a good idea here, but we do have 2 teams that have been fully eliminated so far, and it does look like that is Raided's team and I believe Brittany's team, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, that's tough. This is kind of what I was talking about just a couple of moments ago when we're not even through the second zone yet, Katie. We've lost 2 teams. Now it's going to be extra difficult to find more kills, just due to the fact that 8 players are no longer respawning in time and time again. So I would have to say at this point, when you have 7 teams left, this is when you want to start getting some superiority on key positions as you start to predict where the circle is going to be. So, yeah, I would have to point at this point, okay, we can no longer necessarily play for full-on kills. If we do get a 2-3-man down feed, let's take that position away and see if we can get ourselves set up for position points as we look towards the multipliers.
Yeah, and we did just confirm that was Rated and Brittany's team. So, hey, I said Rated's team. Maybe we'd see more out of them. Tough start for them, certainly in map 1, as well as Brittany's team. They were able to qualify yesterday. I think they finished at maybe 7th in the final. So that's going to be a really tough map 1 for both of those teams to have to try and recover from. Now, to the team of the day, really. Aydan's team sitting at 5 kills from when we last saw him. And with Knight respawning, this is something interesting that we noted after yesterday ended. Beautiful shots, I think, on the Scummin, is that Knight is one of the Rebirth demons, if you will. He plays a ton of Rebirth. He knows this map inside and out, and we noticed when we did a listen-in with them yesterday, Shift, that he was doing a lot of the shot calling. So I don't know if he's trying to take somewhat of an IGL role, but if he is, clearly his knowledge and expertise on this map is paying dividends.
And, you know, for what it's worth, I don't really care who does it, but as long as there's the trust that one person can make those gut check calls and everyone can commit to that call, that will put you, I think, in a more advantageous spot than, I don't mean to put anyone under the bus, but like when we were listening into Swagg's team, they were just like individually going out, not talking to each other and just trying to find kills. Like, I feel like as you start to play for position on the map, having someone that can say, yo, forget this fight, go here, and everyone commits to that is going to lead to more overall success and potential survivability as we get to those late stage moments in particular.
And here's Knight himself, and sitting at 5 kills as well. So at minimum, we know that their team is at 10 kills with the 5 we saw on Aydan. Now he goes for that challenge on the roof, not able to connect with enough to get the down, will fall himself, and that's the same fate Breadman just suffered. About 15 seconds till his redeploy comes off. But MSage, another one of those players you're going to see a lot of tempered, as well as Aydan having it on Z-Smith, but they're going to have to be careful here, right? You're sitting in this bottom prison area, you're checking all those corners. I like this play from Aydan to just be ADSing around every single corner. The moment you get caught out in attack sprint, you die, and unfortunately for Lovely, she gets caught out before she has a chance to react. Aydan now sitting at 7.
Yeah, attack sprint has been, just for what it's worth, a really interesting conversation point in the Twitterverse over the last couple of weeks. Mostly in the multiplayer scene, talking about ATSing and stuff like that, but obviously that is a consideration for how people love to kind of set themselves up for Warzone as well. So yeah, I do like that as well. Just if you know someone is nearby, just don't get caught with your gun up. And by up, I mean towards the sky, not like up like we normally talk about it.
Well, no, I mean, it's a great point, right? When your gun is up because you're auto-attack sprinting, you will never win that gunfight unless that player is bad or misses some shots. It just takes way too long. And, well, in the case of MSage, he is mowing everyone down. And, well, actually, I think that's, is that Jesse? Or no, that's MSage. I think Jesse Cooks might have been one of the people he took down. But Joewo, unfortunately, he falls. Brolic in a bit of trouble himself, I think, was one of those players that died. But, hey, at the end of the day, you're going to get at least one person back in HMay here in about 1 second. Joewo not far behind. So, as much as it seems like they've been in a bit of a revive simulator shift, it also feels like they've been coupling that very effectively with kills in the process.
But they're going to lose Breadman here just as the redeploy gets disabled. And MSage does a bold engagement, long range, barely missing any shots. Goodness. So that's an extra kill tallied. And, ooh, for a second that we saw the scoreboard flash, I saw a 10, a 7, and a 6 there for whoever's team that was. So a good lobby being put together by that squad of 4. Aydan on 7 kills still as he will float on in. Actually, his whole team is floating on in right now, so they need to find some position to work with. And there's really not going to be a lot of weapons for them to just be able to drop in and fight. They need to try to find some loot, and that's difficult to expect considering that we're into our 4th circle, and it's going to push down towards the far north side of the map here in the next 15 seconds.
And here we go. Here's the thing, guys. You might be inside a building with the doors shut, but you might still die to a streak. And unfortunately for Slack, right as he closed that door, it did not matter. And Unrational, well, we've seen him use these snipers to great effect yesterday, just in time to take everything that Shift was saying and throw it back in his face. And well, it looks like maybe he wants to do that again today. 2 down so far, 1 converted into a kill, looking for another one here. But he's going to have to be careful because he can't sit on this water tower for too long, and he only has 2 bullets left.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Katie. I was sitting there saying Unrational's the best sniper ever, and he should have 2 snipers equipped in his kit at all times.
I often don't know what I'm talking about either, so it's fine.
No, all jokes aside, though, we do have, I'd say, 2 of the best snipers in Warzone in this lobby between Breadman and Unrational, and they make me look really silly when I say things like I did yesterday. Ebates is trying to float in.
Shift, as Ebates is doing that, I think Aydan's team's been eliminated.
Yeah, as there was a tough rotation for them off of dropping in, no loot, no weapons, and the circle pushing against. I wouldn't be surprised if we lost them. But talk about the ability. Wait, they actually bought Breadman back. They got him off of a buy station because he was already out before the redeploy was enabled still. So they have a full group of 4 for a small time. They're able to turn this final circle into a very favorable look when they've got a total 3v6 to finish this off, finish off the lobby.
And that was Smixy who took out HMay and then flew through the door and ran straight into the rest of the team. But here we can see, I knew it. I think, is that the Louis Vuitton bucket hat? I think
It
so.
sure looks that way, yeah.
It's a nice bucket hat. It's a beautiful one. It's the game day one, and well, it's working out for him. But let's talk about Scummin, sitting at 12 kills. Scummin, who just got a down that he's looking to turn into his 13th, which he does. This is the Scummin that you expect in these tournaments. He had the cheeky tweets. He had the gunfire yesterday, but look at the amount of kills that they have already. That is a huge game, regardless of your placement.
Oh yeah, look at this though. I mean, we missed it, but Breadman died right as the redeploy disabled, and for the full squad to still be able to get him back and get involved.
Teams that are in contention right now for those 4 qualifying spots, and it's Team Unrational, the first time that we have seen them in a first place spot. We said yesterday they had a bit of trouble in the qual, but they went huge in their map 3 to take that 4th place spot. Well, now this time around they are sitting in first. We saw Scummin briefly there with 13 kills before they ended up dying to Joewo's team, and they did get that 2nd best multiplier, which puts them nicely in first place. Joewo, Aydan, and Blast teams following in 2nd through 4th. Interestingly enough, Aydan's team went out, I believe, in 7th and are still in 3rd.
Yeah, that's the power of being able to tally up eliminations early. I mean, especially considering the fact that we lost teams 9 and team 8 very quickly. So I don't know. It's one of those things that I feel like 20 plus kills, no matter your placement, is going to provide you a very stable tally numerically towards your cumulative score, no matter where you finish. But obviously, if you have the ability to get in towards the top 3 and put together 20 plus kills, that will put you on what is, I think, the kind of bar to what yesterday was. I mean, it was 25 plus kills and a win for just about every single one of our finals lobbies. So as good as the 24 kills are for Team Aydan, maybe there's some consideration of where did we get kind of weakened up as we were making a play for that final circle, because